Hi everyone, Okizeme here. Before we get into the video, I'd like to ask you really quick to visit Valcata.com. It's the official website for my upcoming symphonic metal opera that I've composed. It's really exciting. It's got 8 lead singers, a full metal band, and live strings. So if you're interested, please visit Valcata.com and sign up for the newsletter so you can stay up to date on upcoming teasers and singles and other news. Thanks. Hi, Okizeme here, and welcome to my Ling Xiaoyu guide. I want to preface this just by kind of laying out what I'm aiming for with this video. This isn't really a video about improving your fundamentals, your defense, your block punishing, whiff punishing, that kind of stuff. I feel like there's a lot of videos already out there like that. So if you want to learn to be a good Tekken player in general, this isn't really the video for you. This is really just a video about the good stuff. I love this character, Ling Xiaoyu. She's so much fun and she's commonly hated. For good reason, because she's an absolute nightmare to fight against. So I wanted to take it upon myself to share, a little something with maybe beginner and intermediate Xiaoyu players who are looking for a few tips to give them a little bit of an edge in a fight. I am going to go over some, basic stuff, but this isn't going to be like a guide where I go through the moves list one by one. It's more little things that I personally find helpful to keep in mind as I'm fighting as her. Therefore, I think this video will also be helpful if you're looking for anti-Xiaoyu strats. If you want to know how to fight against her, there's going to be a lot of stuff in this video that will help you know what to look out for. I've learned a lot of what I'm about to share from watching top Xiaoyu players, and I thought it would be helpful to kind of condense all of this dirt into one video for anyone who wants to see it. So I hope you enjoy. I'm definitely not the best or most knowledgeable player in the whole world, so if you do notice something that is incorrect, please let me know and I'll be sure to include it in the description. So I'm gonna start with some strings. I'm gonna start with this. It's 1 down 2. It's better than a 1-2 jab punish. I feel like when you're a new player, and you get attacked and the opponent is minus on block, you're tempted to just do this, which, it's better than nothing. But if you're gonna do that, try to get into the habit of doing this one, because it does a little bit more damage, and it leaves you in back turn stance, which means that they have to deal with a mix-up. So you could go low, or you could go mid, or you could do one of those. And again, I'm not going to go through the whole moves list, but that's one part of the mind game that you can get from this. There's also a final hit to this string. That mid, which is 1+2, it's a good option for opponents who want to press buttons after the first 2 hits. It'll give you a knockdown, and the follow-up is 4-3. This string, 4-2-1-4, the first hit is a mid, so if they're ducking, it'll hit them. But you can also delay the last hit slightly. Not even slightly, but a lot. Basically, opponents will often be tempted to retaliate after the first 2 hits. When push comes to shove and you're in the last minutes of a round, or if you're at the wall and want to get an advantage, because this wall splats too, I believe. Just include the last hit, and it's just a nice little thing to throw out there sometimes if you're feeling a little under pressure. The second hit is a high, so experienced players will know what they're doing if they block the first hit and duck it, and then you might be in a bit of trouble. 1-2-1. This is a good string. If you're feeling under pressure, it's fast and there's a little bit of pushback, but you can delay the third hit slightly. So if they're not expecting that, that's a good one to throw out sometimes too. Here's a random tip. But this combos. Who knew? I mean, maybe people did know that, but I didn't know that. 4-4, 3+4 combos. And it could be a angle thing or a character thing, I don't even know, but yeah, it's definitely an angle thing, but it's good to keep in mind. I mean, it seems to be consistent enough. I don't know why I haven't seen this before, but that shit works. So here's a string from Rain Down Stance. which is good. When you're in rain dance stance and you're throwing this out, it's good to have the threat of the 4 at the end to stop them from pressing buttons. Sometimes they'll be brave enough to interrupt it, and I believe on block it is interruptible, but it's still a good thing to keep in mind, I would say, even as a beginner, to know that this string exists. And that 4 is extremely delayable too. See? You can do it fast, or you can do her slow. And then that's another part of her mind games. You know, you have all these kinds of strings with, you know, 3 hits, but you can make it 2 hits and then go for something else instead. So while they're worried about the 4, you hit them with the low. That's the general idea behind a lot of this stuff. I thought I should mention this move here. Okay, you gotta do up neutral 3 from AOP, right? And then down 1+2 to get back into AOP for the transition. And if you hit them with this, you're talking about shitloads of damage. So this is the combo. And that's the basic combo, and you've already done, like, I don't know, that might even be more than half their life or something, but it's very good. It's very cheap. It low crushes, so any lows they do will go under that move. You gotta be quick with the follow-up after they turn around, but that is one of her cheapest moves, I think. The next move I'm gonna go over is sidestep 4. Good long range low, it counter hits for a combo. The idea behind this move really is that you can mix it up with that, which is 1+2. So often when the opponent sees you sidestep, they'll anticipate a low. For example, they'll anticipate sidestep 3, or they'll anticipate that. So to keep them in check, do one of those. It's very fast, it knocks down, and you can combo off it even though it is tricky. I can do this. There you go. I generally just go for this because it's easier, but if you can combo off it, it's better. And the trick to landing that is that you can input the forward 3 sooner than you realize. You can kind of buffer it, okay? Yeah, so this is an important mix-up. This and this. Sidestep. And the good thing about the sidestep 4 too is that it's very delayable. In fact, her sidestep moves can be delayed a lot. So you can do it quick, or you can do a whole sidestep and then do the 4. Or the 3. This is actually a really good way to throw them off the snake edge. Just be like, all right. Full sidestep. Let me see how long I can delay it for, actually. Quite a lot. Oh my god. See, that's bullshit, you know? But that's why I love this character. She's just such a silly sausage. Oh yeah, so this was a buff in Season 2, I believe. It's forward 1+2, 1+2. Commonly known as X marks the spot. You can delay this too. The delay is important because you'll often get a counter hit on that shit. Delay it. And the second hit counter hits like so. So the reason you're delaying is because you're looking for that launch, you're looking for that counter hit. Just in case you're confused. This is a good string too, in my opinion, only because it's a similar situation with the other strings where you're not expecting the last tail end of it often. You can sometimes just approach with this, and sometimes they'll just be stupid and get hit by it. Let's talk about her stances. So you know that she has AOP, you know that she has Rain Dance Stance, and she has Hypnotist. I would practice transitioning between all the stances. You can transition from AOP to backturn stance. You can also transition from backturn stance straight into AOP. You don't have to always transition into AOP from neutral. You don't always have to transition to backturn stance from neutral. You don't always have to duck from neutral. You can duck in Rain Dance Stance. There's also this transition from Rain Dance Stance, which is When you're in rain down stance, it's down back. That's a really important move because it creates space when you feel like you're in a bit of a hairy situation. For example, if you do one of those and they block it, you kind of want to get out of there usually pretty fast, and you'll do the down back to get out, and that already creates space. Another move that creates space in back turn stance is back 3+4. And you can do that till the end of the earth, and they'll have to chase you down. They'll have to chase you down because they want your panties, basically. Sorry. I'm laughing at my own fucking stupid joke. Okay, let's keep this moving. To exit AOP safely and quickly, tap up, okay, and then you'll go straight back to neutral. If you press up, you'll jump. So make sure to just tap it. AOP is important. If you don't know this already, it is a very evasive stance, and it avoids a lot of mids. That's why it's considered so cheap and frustrating for people, is because they'll be throwing out mids that normally hit their opponents, but you're just chilling in the stance and it's going right over your head. You can transition to rain down stance from a sidestep 2, because you can input the sidestep 3, which is this, and you can cancel the sidestep 3 with back. This is a good move to throw off your opponents and make them second guess what you're going to do. And as you can see, I did the sidestep 3 cancel combined with a down back in that situation. Or you can do sidestep 3 cancel and do a back 3+4. So I think it's worth just going to practice and having a little bit of a dance, having a little bit of fun, just going into your stances, into other stances. Please learn all of your rolls. You have a roll from back turn stance, you have a roll from AOP, forward, and these rolls are important for a variety of reasons, but the forward rolls are important because they recover in crouch, which means that you have access to your while standing moves from them, such as her extremely powerful while standing 2, which counter hits for a combo. So this is a move you'll want to do a lot. Forward roll into while standing 2. You have access to your while standing 4, you have access to your while standing 3, which also counter hits, but it's one of the riskier options. But I guess the animation is useful for throwing off your timing. And of course, while standing 1, which is the fastest out of all of them, but just a little bit lower damage. Because it recovers in crouch, you have access to this, so you can stay in crouch. You have access to a quick dick jab, you have access to this. So your mind game is, okay, I'm gonna do a forward roll, am I gonna do a low, am I gonna do nothing? Am I gonna transition back into AOP, which you can do. In doing that, you can bait out hop kicks and punish them with this. That'll punish most hop kicks. Some hop kicks can be punished with this. So again, practice just acting like a fucking idiot, jumping up and down, going from all your different stances, rolling forward, sidestepping, doing your sidestep cancel, into AOP. Oh yes, you can actually transition into crouching rain dance from crouch. So you can input, I think it's down back 3+4, exactly. So that will be, that's also pretty evasive. I personally I'm still trying to figure out a really good use for this transition from crouch into back turned crouch. I know it's pretty evasive, but I just have to get used to using this myself. But you know, one cheap thing you could do from this is obviously it's prime real estate for something like that. You could roll backwards from it. I don't advise going ham on all of those crazy breakdance moves in a real match. I just think it's useful to sometimes fake out the opponent a little bit like that, because you know, if you get into a flow chart of doing this, okay, eventually your opponent is going to start blocking that, or they're going to start backdashing it, and they're going to whiff punish you. So you want to instead do something like this. You want to roll forward and not do that, and then do this. you know, just to keep them on their toes so they know that you're not a robot doing the same thing every single time. You could roll forward into AOP, then turn back and hit them with that. And these little anti-decisions that you're making really do fuck people up. You just have to make sure that you're mixing up the right amount of fast attacks and slow attacks. Keep them in check with the fast attacks, and as soon as they start standing there like fucktards, then you can hit them with some slower shit like your Rager. You can transition into AOP like this. You can transition like this. You can transition like this. You can transition like that. I'm sorry, I'm not going to name out every single input. Go into the moves list and do your research. I'm trying to give you quick tips here. You can transition into AOP from this forward roll, which has similar properties to your AOP roll. You have access to your while standing moves from that. The counter hit, and this is often very successful. So yeah, you can transition into AOP from that. Get used to those transitions because they really do catch people off guard. This one is very good. They'll often try jabbing you or some shit after this, and you're just like chilling down there laughing your ass off. Now here's where we get to some of the good stuff. We get into mix-ups. Well, up forward 1 is good. Low crushes and ends in a low, but you can cancel this by holding down. And this opens up a lot of options. The first option is the move itself, 10 out of 10. The next option is canceling the move, also 10 out of 10. The next option is canceling the move and doing a while standing move. And that's good because players who are used to seeing this will be tempted to duck. When they do duck, you hit them with a mid. And then when you figure out that your opponent knows what you're doing with this, that's when you hit them with a low. You're making them guess, oh shit, should I duck this? Should I not duck it? If they don't duck it, then you have access to this, you have access to that, you have access to all kinds of shit. And if you want to get really filthy about it, you can cancel it, stand up straight, and before they know it, they are being comboed into oblivion. If they block this, of course, you know, you might get punished. But it's still a solid option. You can do this move also from rain dance stance. It's ever so slightly faster if you input the up forward slightly before the 1. See the difference? See how that's slower? Yeah, and that's faster. So keep that in mind, and also keep in mind, and this is actually my favorite, from rain dance stance, if you input up forward 2, the animation looks similar, but it's a mid. So if you think that they're gonna duck that, just hit them at one of those. Round ender, you've won, and you're laughing. Next, I'm going to cover her sidestep 3. A very cheap and powerful move, especially in the lower ranks. It is launch punishable, so the higher up you go, the more likely that your opponent is going to block this and launch you. To avoid being block punished, you can cancel this, as I already described, by inputting back. And then you go into rain dance stance. Well, it means that you have all the moves that are available in rain dance stance available to you, such as this. This is a powerful mix-up because as soon as they duck to avoid this, right? As soon as they duck to avoid that, they get launched. Also, the higher up you go, the more likely that your opponent will be familiar with this mix-up. So even if you do that, they will have very good reactions and they will not fall for it. They will block this, and mistrust is launch punishable by lots of characters. So in order to be safe, you could try just doing that and then doing a safe mid. But when they start blocking this, that's when the mix-up becomes even more powerful, because especially if you're in a rage, you got this shit. And overall, the mix-up while you're in rage between your rage drive and your mistrust is extremely scary to your opponent. You can really land the rage drive often by doing it this way. Okay, if you just walk up to them and do straight up rain dance stance and do the rage drive, you have a chance of getting low parried or blocked, but this one really throws them off a lot, unless they really have a lot of experience. And even if they do have a lot of experience, you've got to be smart about it. Mix up your timing. Duck, stand up, then do the mistrust. Sidestep, rage drive, you know. Really mix up your timing with things. Don't be obvious and do the same thing over and over again. Like, if you're in lower ranks, I'm sure you'll just be tempted to just do this. Which actually works, you know, because it's such a dumb thing to do that I think higher level players would probably not even expect you to do that, but really you want to at least roll before it, or, you know, roll, go into AOP, turn around and do that. So that's how you confuse people. The ducking really is good for throwing people off in rain dance stance, or even taunting. It just gives them a little bit of a brain fart, you know? And if you're in range for a rage drive, you don't always have to go for it, you can back up. But I like the ducking because this animation starts sort of in a duck, right? This animation, down 4, that kind of starts off in a duck. So players who are good at blocking that will be thrown off if you duck real quick before a mistrust. I'm telling you, they will duck if you duck, and then you launch them. It's really good. Even if you roll back and just land crouching, they will be so tempted to crouch and look up your panties that you can hit them with a mid. It just throws off the timing by a split second, and it helps. Another way of getting your rage drive in there is back 2. It's a good move, it's tracking, it's a string, right, mid-low. But this move is powerful because you end up in rain dance stance after the first hit. If you encounter a player who is blocking this, that means it's dinner time for you, basically, because if they duck after this hit, if they start low parrying that low hit, that means they're ducking after this hit, and if they're ducking, that means you can launch them. Some of your opponents know this mix-up. They know that you can do this bullshit, because there is as you can see, there's a long delay between those two moves, and there's enough time for someone who knows what they're doing to defend against that. So if you encounter someone who both blocks this and this, you gotta fucking use your rage drive, okay? This mix-up, they'll never block that, ever. It very, very rarely gets blocked, because that low is just not a threatening low, at least, you know, during the middle of the match. They'll be so used to looking out for either this or this that they will not think to look for that. And if you really want to be cheeky about it, you could try the slower low, the down 4. You could be cheeky about that, you know. But if they block this, keep in mind that they actually can interrupt it. If they're smart, they can interrupt this after a block with a jab. And in that case, you could just fucking, you know. Here's a tip for her rage drive. The common combo that you see is probably this one, because it's really good damage. But if you're really close to them, you can get an even higher damage combo, which is this. And I missed that. I was just getting to that because it's hard to land, but if you really need that extra damage and you want to risk it, go for this. As you can see, it's a little hop kick before the first forward 2. Instead of the usual forward roll, you don't do that. You crawl forward and you go for that hop kick, but it does hit if you really nail it, which I'm still struggling to do, and it's probably not worth trying, but I'm just letting you know that it's there if you do need it. Maybe I should try doing it earlier. No, later. Yeah. All right. I want to talk about this move briefly, which is AOP up forward 4-4. Classic move, it's been there since Tekken 3. The mix-up here is whether you're going to end the string by doing the second hit or not. It is interruptible by jabbing, I think, but it's still scary, and it will often hit a lot of players if they try pressing buttons after the first hit. There is a little bit of a mix-up here. where you can sort of test their reactions, because after the first hit, if you don't do the second hit, you end up in crouch. Therefore, you have access to all of your powerful while standing moves, okay? You also have access to crouch moves. So I like using this one because it's really fast. Sorry, not that one, this one. I like using that. It's really fast, often gets them. And that wasn't a crouching move, but, you know, that is. And that's an example of how you can sort of chain her moves together from various situations. This is a good round ender, in my opinion. And of course, don't always do the 2 hits. Or don't always do this. You know, now and again, just do one, back up. You can transition into rain dance stance from this too, I just remembered, by pressing back after the first hit. Can you do it from the second hit? No, you can only do that from the first hit. So that is also pretty good for setting up the rage drive. You've scared them with the threat of the second hit that they have forgotten all about the rage drive. And, you know, just a quick reminder to not forget about all the other awesome moves from Rain Dance Stance, like 1, which is a counter hit launcher like every other move she has. She's such a blessed girl. Forward forward 3 is a counter hit. If they don't face you in time, you'll get a free mistrust. Often they will be able to turn around in time, but I think it's if they press forward, they'll turn around in time to block the mistrust. So a safe bet after landing this is to just do the down 4. It'll hit them and the damage is guaranteed, usually, anyway. Yeah. Although, in general, it's pretty safe to just do the down back, whether this hits or doesn't. Just use it as a safe poke. Even if you hit this for a counter hit, doing this is risky because if they duck it, they'll launch you. So this is just a good long range safe poke, and then you can just like get out of there. If they attack after this is blocked and you do this in time, you'll create space for a whiff, and then you can launch them or do whatever. Her full crouch forward 4 is a very powerful mix-up tool. This can also be accessed by pressing forward 4 from AOP. This is powerful because everyone knows that there's a second hit, and it works the same way as this, where you're threatening the second hit all the time so that they react in the way that you want them to. You could do this, and then they duck to try to block the second hit, but the second hit doesn't come, so they stand up again, so you do this. Alternatively, you can do this, and then when they duck, 2-1. So in full crouch, you automatically enter AOP from the first hit. And at the wall, this is extremely powerful. You hit them with the low to make them duck, and then you hit them with the wall splat. In case you're a beginner who doesn't really know this technique, it's a really important one. This mix-up can develop into more cancels, because this move can be cancelled into Rain Dance Stance, like so, by holding back after the 1. There's 2-1 and hold back after the 1, before the 1 hits, and you'll end up in Rain Dance Stance. And of course, that means that you can do the rage drive, or you can, you know, what I like to do sometimes is just hit them with a down 2 real fast after entering a Rain Dance Stance to keep them in check. Because if they see the cancel, they'll want to press a button, and that just keeps them in check. If they're being very defensive, you know, hit them with a low, but be careful because this animation is slow enough. It's slow for an experienced player who's looking at it. They'll know what you're up to often, so you have to threaten also with the delayable 1, which goes like this. And that really fucks up their eyes and makes them wonder if you're cancelling it, and you can delay it and cancel it. Delay it and cancel it, like that. Because they think if you're delaying it, then you're definitely going to go for the 1, but you're not going to go for the 1. You're going to do a back turn stance, then you're going to duck, confuse them, then you're going to do this. Don't forget that this move exists too, which is counter hit throw if it hits. It's just a good safe low, which looks really sassy and annoying, and hitting them with that is just really fun and satisfying sometimes. One of her most powerful moves, well, they're all powerful, let's be honest, is 4-4-3 AOP. Because if they block, that also leaves you open to all those mix-ups that I've just described. So let's make them block. Block, hit them with the low. Block, low, mid, mid, low, 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 mid. So if you do that, and then if you tap up to exit AOP, you're actually sort of in crouch for a second there. You see that? That means you have all standing moves. Also, a really good trick that I like to do is, usually when you do this move and they block it, they expect you to do something, which means that they're likely to just keep blocking. And because they're likely to just keep blocking, just quickly go into ring mat stance, and you have to use their fear against them. Use their fear against them and manipulate their mind to your liking. It's risky, but it very, very, very often works. It's a really dirty trick that I really enjoy. Same with this. I haven't really talked about this much because it's so fucked up, because I feel like people already know about that, you know? You could mix this up with that, I guess, but it's slower than the Mistrust, so it's more risky. But actually, I've often launched people from doing this because again, it's just sort of a weird timing thing where they're sort of seeing things that they didn't expect to see, and it creates just a little bit of a spark of doubt in their mind. So they naturally duck, of course, when that happens. Just FYI, this move is a good move to get max damage out of combos sometimes, like here. I'm pretty sure that's max damage in this. I'm gonna give you a little bit of Okizeme, which is how you treat your opponent when they're on the ground. Okay, so let's say your typical combo looks like this. Okay, that's all well and good, but what if you want to try to get more bang for your buck? Let's try, I want you to do this instead. Do this as an ender. That puts you in a very, very powerful position. Again, you're an AOP and you're going to make them have to guess what you're going to do next. So, another good follow after that is the 3. That will often hit them unless they side roll. Roll forward. That's a popular one. If you find that they are able to block this, mix it up with that. This is a good move for catching spring kickers. But of course, if you end with this in a combo and just move forward a little bit, they'll often be tempted to spring kick, and if they spring kick, they'll end up behind you, in which case you obviously mistrust them and do your mistrust combo. Basically, this is a really, really good tool as a combo ender. What else is good as a combo ender? A slightly delayed 4-4-3 will have them tech roll if they decide to tech roll, and then they'll end up here, in which case they'll have to deal with that, or they'll have to deal with this. So let's look at that again. Or, so you're banking on them to tech roll to put them in a situation where they're just standing there like a dummy and they're going to have to deal with a really quick mix-up from you after tech rolling. Also, just a straight up jump over with your 4-4-3 will launch them often if they tech roll. I think it catches their tech roll sometimes depending on the distance, or some people will just tech roll stupidly into a duck for one reason or another, but either way, this is a kind of a dirty trick that works 60% of the time, every time. I want to talk about her tech catches. So let's launch. Do a forward one. So they tech rolled there, okay? We want to punish them for doing that. And we want to get more bang for our buck. So let's do this. Okay? That catches their tech roll and puts you in a really powerful position. I'm not entirely sure what the circumstances have to be. It is a little finicky. You gotta like practice and see what way you're hoping that they'll roll and stuff. Like it hit them that time. So this move does cancel into RDS by holding back too, and lots of good juicy shit. Or even that. Another dirty setup that I like is this. If you are in rage and you're low on health, but you need to make a big comeback because a lot of their health is left. Don't do the full rage drive combo, do this. Okay? And then that'll give you a guaranteed mistrust if you hit them. Or an alternative to this, which I also really enjoy, is just that. The tech catch from the 3 combo usually looks like this. And of course that combo also works from, do practice your pickup from those, because that's important. If you're looking for ways to reset your combo, I do it one of 2 ways. 4-4-3 or while standing 2. Here's an example. Lots of damage. You gotta hit them just as they're about to hit the floor. Maybe even as they're hitting the floor is better, because you don't want this to happen. But of course, combo resets only work if they don't tech roll. So the mix-up is between the tech roll and not the tech roll. You know, you can do this too. If they don't tech roll, you can do this forever. Forward 4-3, back 4, and that transfers into a full reset combo. Filthy, absolutely filthy. Oh, I also wanted to talk about the While Rising 2 pickup. There you go. I'm losing my mind. Doing this fucking guide is so tiring. Alright, pickups. Fucking delirious. I think I might have another vodka. Throws. After this throw, this is guaranteed in the back. If they stand straight up, or if they try to get up kick or whatever, if they don't stay on, if they stay on the ground, or if they roll, they have to roll sideways to get out of it, or they have to stay on the ground or pretty much do nothing if they don't want to get hit by the shooting star after this throw. You want to throw that out there. You don't really have much to lose by doing that. Hopping is good bait for a counter hit. Just a little hop, bunny rabbit hop, is good bait for a counter hit, meaning this. Because the hop recovers in crouch, so you'll have access to your while standing too. You don't think that people are going to fall for this, but they do. They fall for this. And it's a good one. Very, very powerful. You can even do a long jump or a backward jump. That can sometimes work if you're trying to be defensive. You can try 2 jumps. Mix it up, but that's another good tip. So I'm gonna do some wall stuff. Fuck it, let's do Hammerhead. It's such a nice day out. Well, the number 1 wall tip that every Xiaoyu player must know is the tech roll catch, hop over, mistrust, which goes like this. Once you wall splat, just jump over. They have literally no time to turn around. Hop over and mistrust. Another cool wall technique is that down back 4 at the wall is very powerful because after this, a forward 1+2 is uninterruptible. and you can use that as a wall splat if they try pressing buttons. Max damage mistrust combo at the wall looks like this. Here's a setup that I kind of like at the wall. Down 3, and then from there you can move into maybe one of those, or you can move into one of these, anything. For some reason a lot of people don't expect the extra low kick wall combo. Here's an example of the type of fucking tomfoolery you can try pulling off at the wall. Okay, you're doing this, you're fishing for the 2-1. You gotta try fucking with them and just cancelling a little bit, doing a little bit of that, you know, just mash the fucking shit out of it and you'll be fine. Okay, so just to break down what I did there. They're at the wall, I got a wall splat. You want another wall splat. If they anticipate a low, they might block this, but again, they might not anticipate the second hit, so you throw the second one out. If they do anticipate the second hit, 2-1. Then of course you just do the max damage. Oh yeah, okay, so I was getting to that. Sidewall splat, you can sort of recombo. Because often they'll end up against the wall in a weird angle, and the 1-2-1 is a good option to just get some damage in when that happens. Yeah. But usually it's better for you to do this. Hypnotist at the wall. Hypnotist at the wall is very scary. If they block Hypnotist 2, after 3 steps, you're extremely plus on blocking, you basically get a launcher. Okay? 2, 3. But usually what you'll want to do is this. But out in the open, this move works too. So yes, it's very, very, very good. A few more quick tips. If King or Eddie or anyone with a spring kick decides to spring kick you, please block it and then launch them with that. Okay? Because they'll end up back turned, and anyone who is back turned to you can be launched with this. Learn to block hell sweeps and snake edges by blocking and then launch punishing with this. Launch punishing with that. That's pretty much my Xiaoyu guide. That's a lot of the tips and dirty strategies that I know. I don't think I even scratch the surface of all of the possibilities in this video, but I have to say I'm absolutely exhausted. I wanted to do more, but I just can't. I am flutered completely. So thank you very much for watching, and I hope that you got something useful out of this. This is my first Tekken video, so I apologize if it was a little rough around the edges, but I suppose my goal is to help other people have as much fun with this character as I have had. If you are struggling with fighting against this character, I hope I have made your life a little bit easier by showing you how helpless you truly are. Please like and subscribe. Let me know if you want me to do more videos like this. I also play Josie and Nina. I'd be happy to make more Tekken related videos if you're interested in getting them from me. I'll come up with something, I'm sure. I also do reaction videos and music reviews and stuff, so if you have enjoyed this at all, please like and subscribe and let me know what you think. I'll be putting out some videos soon of my online matches, a compilation of some of my favorite clips that I've clipped from online. My PlayStation handle is right there. If you want to add me and fight me, I'd be happy to. If you have any questions or tips or corrections, I'd be happy to hear those too. But I had fun, so I hope you did too. Take it easy and bon voyage.